video series, things you can do to make you a better Power Platform solution builder. Let's have a look at what the Power Platform actually has to offer us. As you can see from us on screen, we have a lot of options when it comes to capturing and working with data and information in the Power Platform. What sometimes happens, and this happened to me in the early days, is you tend to focus on the part of the Power Platform that you know the best or fits the best into the type of work you do. I'm an old school SharePoint guy. Anytime I could put something on top of a SharePoint list that was better than the SharePoint default form, for me it was solid gold, and I loved Power Apps. It became the part of the Power Platform that I spent most of my time in with Power Automate. As I had my own journey, I realized there was so much more I could do and solutions that I could build that were so much better if I'd actually taken the time to learn the rest of the Power Platform. So this is like tip 3. If you really want to be a great solution builder, get to know the rest of the Power Platform as well. And the reason that is important is it'll give you a better set of tools when you're architecting solutions. And not just the tools that we have on screen now when it comes to building interfaces, automation, but also the underlying capabilities and the, let's say, auxiliary applications that live alongside or are part of the Power Platform that you can use to build better solutions. When we're talking about these other parts of the platform, we think like Dataverse, PowerFX, AI Builder, which is one of my favorite tools to play with, and then the 700 plus connectors that we have available for building different solutions. Then we have what's sitting on the side and sometimes is almost intrinsically a part of the Power Platform, though not explicitly, things like Teams, SharePoint, Azure, and Dynamics. Knowing how these all fit together give you a better way of actually building. It also makes you think of ways to reimagine basic solutions and reimagine ways of doing things. Recently I had a solution I had to build. It was a nomination app. My client wanted to have a list somewhere of nominations that staff gave to say thank you or to appreciate somebody else in the business. And when we originally started off, we were going to use a SharePoint list and create a Power App. But once we spent a bit of time looking at the personas of the people that were actually going to use the app, where they worked, which happened to be a lot in Teams versus traditional apps, and how they actually connected with the company. Knowing what else we could use inside the Power Platform gave us a bit of a different approach. So in that specific scenario, we ended up using Power Apps. We built a Canvas app that could be rendered on the mobile device or embedded into the SharePoint site. So if you're a person that liked to work in SharePoint through the internet, no problem. There was an appreciation link and you clicked onto it and you saw the embedded app. If you had Power Apps installed, not a problem. You could surface the Power App on your device, add a dedicated link, and that was the way you nominated. 75% of the client's staff were actually in Teams because they built applications that lived in Teams, so most people never left Teams. So how did we get it into Teams? Yes, we could have embedded the Power App into a team, but that's a bit icky considering it's not really the form factor we were looking for. So what we ended up doing was, instead of using a onSubmit in the Power App itself, we created a Power Automate that could accept parameters, and we used that as our orchestrator. And then to make it easier for people in the teams to connect and nominate somebody, we thought Teams is great for conversations. Why don't we put Power Virtual Agent into Teams? And we built a bot. So we have a nominations bot. And now you go to Teams and you could be working on anything and you could say, fine, I'm now going to, Sarah's done a great job. Quickly go to nominate, or the nominate bot say, I'd like to appreciate somebody. The bot says who, you say Sarah, says this Sarah. So it does a nice lookup against Active Directory, gives an option. I say Sarah 2. What value? I click on a box, hit submit, and that pushes into the backend as well. So what we effectively did was we created different channels that our solution could use to achieve what the customer wanted initially, which was to have a single place to capture nominations. But what we did was we opened that up to having the same data being able to be captured in 3 different ways from 3 different applications where people wanted to work and were normally working. And this is not something that I'd have thought about two years ago or 3 years ago when I was in my SharePoint space, because SharePoint was it. So consideration there is think about, at least at a fundamental level, getting to know each of the different applications and what they do. If you want to do this and you have the time, highly recommend that you look at the Microsoft training site and look for the in-a-day events. Currently, we do App in a Day with Microsoft, which looks at Canvas apps and model-driven apps. We do RPA in a Day, Robotic Process Automation Day. Don't let the title fool you. In the RPA, we do Power Automate, and we do AI Builder as well in that day. So it's one of my favorite in a days to actually deliver. And then look at PVA in a Day, Power Virtual Agent Day. That's the full day dedicated to building Power Agent bots. And I highly recommend, if you can get to those, they're absolutely free. They'll cover the bases. Do App in the Day for Power BI as well. And that'll give you at least a good sense of what there is, so that when you get to a problem, you are imagining your solution, you can actually say, well, I remember that one time where I saw that, and then add that to your stack and get a solution that you actually want.